Hello, hello, hello. You're once again, as always, up front with Frank Rothstein on skyscrescentradio.com. SKYES crescentradio.com. And you can find us everywhere at the website by the name I just mentioned, on YouTube.com/Skies Crescent Radio, SKYES Crescent Radio. You can find us on Facebook, where you see where we're broadcasting on video, live feed, of course. So if I sneeze and make a funny face, you get to laugh at me, and that's at facebook.com/Skies Crescent Radio or /Upfront with Frank Rothstein, and that's a lot of places to find us. Damn. No matter which website you go to, don't come empty-handed. Please bring cake. I'm hungry. Anyway, what's going on? I'm getting political. I am going to form a picketing parade of my own in front of Jade's house because I want to get rid of the E from Skies Crescent Radio. I'm tired of spelling it. People get confused when they ask me, where do you broadcast this? At Skies. And they're writing it down. It's SKY. No, it's not with the Y. There's an E in there. So yeah, we are going to create a sign. We have to have a sign. We're going to create it. And that's what we're Anyway, sitting with me as always in front of a picture of the planet with looks like three black holes sitting behind her, wearing a shirt saying Houston, which, wow, I guess she has a problem. Everybody, it is Jade Zabrick. Find out where Jade is when you look at jadezabrick.com or her band, thetrainwalkers.com. Everybody, keep track of the train walkers. They're adding members by the minute, and they're going better every day. And they're doing their first Sunday of the month at 7 o'clock at Arlene's Grocery, 95 Staten Street. And that is what's going on with all the people who are walking around the trains. From the first car to the last car, from the beginning to the end of the line, they are walking on the trains. Everybody, I'm exhausted now. The show is half over, by the way, from all these introductions and references, but we still go on. Well, in the time we have left, there's a lot going on in the world. There's always a lot going on in the world. Where to start? Where to start? Where to start? Well, let's go with... Yeah, actually, I just really put this up on my computer. I use my Facebook as like my filing cabinet, you know? So that way, okay, let's start with this. That way I can keep track of the things I want to talk about. Then I pretty much clean off my page and it's like a blank sheet. But the most recent thing in the news is Southwest Airlines has canceled more than 1,000 flights, and that's over the vaccine mandates. So it says here, I got this, of course, from the Post, New York Post, but they pick up everyone's newsfeed. Southwest Airlines has canceled more than 1,000 flights on Sunday, stranding outrage. You have to be outraged. We cannot have enough of that word, outraged. Passengers across the country on a busy 3-day Columbus Day weekend due to traffic control and weather issues, they said. I was also reading in another article that there's also vaccine problems. But either way, they had a problem. They have canceled 1,000 flights. Matter of fact, today alone, they've canceled 300 more. So either the fog is not lifting over Southwest Airlines, or they really have a problem there. So they're blaming the weather and the staffing, and you can't have 3-day weather problems in an airport. Believe me, they get off the ground and they land. This is the COVID-19 vaccine mandate, and that's over 300 flights today, probably more by now from when I read this article. So let's say 1,400 flights. And they're having a problem. So if you're trying, this is going to happen a lot more, people. My best suggestion is get yourself a van, a small minibus, and you and your friends kick in for gas and do a road trip, because this is just getting insane. It really is. But that is that's what's going on in the airline business. What is this? And I'm going to bounce around. I'm not going to have any serious segment or a dopey segment. I'm just going to bounce around. So what was I noticing the other day? This is more of a historical case. Of all things, and I've been reading this in the news as of late, You can see this in a few places. What was thought to be a cold case turns out that a few cops over the years formed the group, and now the case of the Zodiac Killer takes another twist. But police are saying it's not solved. Yeah, they're still looking for the Zodiac Killer. Now, for those of you who do not know what this is, it was known as the Zodiac Killer, or, yeah, Zodiac. And this was a serial killer in Northern California in like the late 1960s, like 1968, 69, around there. Maybe he started a little earlier. And where they're attaching, yeah, I'm looking at Wikipedia where it said 5 confirmed dead, 2 injured, possibly 20 to 28 total dead, although Zodiac in one of his many notes claimed to be 37. But this is still going on. Now, cold cases have a way of coming back every now and then, depending on what it is. But, well, he was, let's see, I'm 58. I'm sure he wasn't born the same year I was, so he's not, so he's not 58. I'm sure he was not born 5 years before me, so he's not 63. I doubt he's 63. But this guy really could be upwards 80, and they're still looking for this guy. So I'm not even sure he's still alive. But yet they think they have a lead on on his identity. And over the years, a few people, claim, a few other, like Ted Kaczynski said he had claim connections to him. Manson family, well, they thought he was part of the Manson cult. That wasn't the case. Dennis Kaufman claimed his stepfather, Jack Tarrance, was Zodiac. No, I don't know about that. Everybody wants to be part of something, I guess. So yeah, right now, people are looking for the true identity, and if possible, the old man that used to be the Zodiac Killer. And it's not a funny case. To me, it's odd that people are looking at this time. First of all, if he's alive, for all you know, this guy's in total dementia. Could be dead of old age. But yeah, you don't know what shape this, I mean, you got to keep on looking. But okay, keep on looking. It's important. What else is going on? I was reading another article the other day. I saw this in a few other places. This one I'm looking at, what is it called? The Jewish Telegraphic Agency. This is, or jta.org. And what happened was, there's new technologies for everything, especially in food. So you know how you see like plant-based meats, it's not real meat, or impossible burgers, what you want to call them. Now they have one that's being used as pork. They're referring to it as pork. And this is called, exactly, impossible pork. Okay, so the paragraph is, the Orthodox Union will not certify impossible pork as kosher, representing a break from the way that decisions about certifying kosher food are normally made. But as someone who studies Judaism's long relationship with technology, the writer of this article would say it's undoubtedly the right move. Now, why are people wondering why this cannot be certified as pork? Okay. First of all, I'm looking at this thing. It looks like someone cut a little piece of whatever, stuck in there a little sliced cucumber, and folded a little over some sort of a dough. Not bread, like folded over, like it's almost like a finger, like a little bite sandwich. Mostly because they want to associate it with the word pork. And pork in itself is not kosher you cannot make it a kosher food. There's no, unlike a cow, which has kosher and non-kosher parts, where you eat, if you keep a kosher home, you eat from a certain part of it and not the others. Pork is from pig. That's just the way it is. Bacon, ham, most cold cuts you see come from pig, a lot of them. sausages, everything. So people are wondering, well, why you can't? It's a meat substitute. It's not pork, but as it yielded up, as explained, they could not certify a product that describes itself as pork. Good. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Maybe down the road when one of this generation, my generation, or the next one or two fly off the planet, and things change maybe in the ruling. But as it stands today, it is not kosher, and it is, you want to call yourself pork, then accept what goes along with it. It looks like brisket. I mean, a lot of foods you make, whether it's beef or from pig or from any other form of animal, you cook it up, it looks the same in many areas. I mean, so why take a chance and call it pork? But okay. Anyway, good luck with that, because I don't see that changing so fast. Maybe, but I don't see it. So anyway, what else is going? Anyone see the other day, a few days ago, kid who shot up the other kids in the high school? Student at high school, after a fight, opened fire, injuring 4 people, including a teacher. And on last Thursday, he was released from jail after 1 day after being arrested. His name is Timothy Simpkins. He's 18, so he's a senior. He attends Timberview High School in Arlington, Texas. He'll report to home confinement after he posted $75,000 bond. What's cash alternative? 10% at the Tarrant County Jail. That's according to WFAA News. And that's where it is at the moment. This kid shot 4 people in school and got out on a $75,000 bond the next day. Now, he's not a minor. He may be on the younger side of 18. I don't know if he's closer to 18 than he is to 19, but he's 18. He's an adult. And he got out on $75,000 bond, not cash, bond. And the parents are saying, well, he was a bullied child. Let me tell you something, people. I was a bullied child. I remember all the kids beating me up every day when I was little after school. I remember all the fights. I remember they always came 3 to. I remember all those things. I never even dreamt of killing anybody or shooting anybody or stabbing anybody or anything else to anybody. I thought about hitting somebody, but I never thought of doing anything beyond kid level stuff. I never even occurred to hurt someone to that degree. No, sorry, I don't buy it. The kid was bullied, so of course he was able to get out on bond. Listen, that does not work with me. I don't know what's going to happen with the case, obviously, because he just got out on bail a few days ago. But that something is weak about that justice system. I don't know what the judge is thinking. I don't know how the state law works, but no, not good enough. Speaking of not good enough, let's talk about some parents out there. This is a story from the 10th, from yesterday. And I'm looking at this headline that says, Mom awarded $4.9 million after her son's death, bought guns for the other son's gang. Excuse me, let me get a drink of water for that one. It says here, a California woman was paid nearly $5 million in a settlement after her son was fatally shot by police officers, was arrested for using the money to purchase guns for her other son and gang members. Christina Lopez of Madera, California, was one of 14 people arrested in the months-long investigation into a gang whose members were allegedly involved in a fatal shooting in July. So they found the mom. She got almost $5 million because a 16-year-old kid was killed. I don't know the details of the case. I didn't look that far, but either way, she took the 5 million. I don't know what she has left, but she put some of the money towards arming her other kids' gang. Well, welcome to one person's family. That's why I always go with the thought of, want to know why the kids are fucked up? Look at the parents. I cannot believe a mother would do this. I don't care if she was in a gang herself as a kid. You would think that once you lose one child to gun violence of any kind, you'd want to stray away from that and just keep clear of it. No, no, don't know how old, the other 14, okay. 14-year, well, so she probably cooked the other members lunch and gave them money for guns. I think, wow. She's making her first court appearance tomorrow. I can always say, can it get any dumber? But yes, it does. Yes, it does. Speaking of dumb, let's shift some gears a little bit. By the way, if you'd like to leave any questions, anything, just go to my Upfront with Frank Rothstein page, see today's show, leave a question. I'll see it if it's posted, and then we'll talk and I'll address it. I'll read it on there, so on and so on. Go California, who's looking to to protect the environment. They're looking to ban small off-road gas engines, including lawnmowers and chainsaws. There you go. There you go. California took another step toward its goal of ridding the state of all gas-powered engines, thanks to a new bill signed by Governor Gavin Newsom. The new law will ban the sale of off-road gas and power engines, including generators, lawn equipment, pressure washers, chainsaws, weed trimmers. Wait a second, let me keep on going here. Even golf carts. Under the new law, these machines must be zero emissions, meaning they have to be either battery powered or plug-in, according to the LA Times. Well, let me see what's on here. Well, if you want to do the work, you can always, I'm sure I know there are battery-powered rechargeable lawnmowers, and, you can always get a little battery-powered power station. You can charge it up in the house as a battery and use your chainsaw and your weed trimmer. Or you can use it by a manual thing and do it yourself. And, golf carts, well, they do make them on, you can use, there are some that still use car batteries. Yeah, you can do that. Somehow, generators. I don't know about that. Trust me, I'm a battery freak. That's what my mom called me when I was 9. I was a battery freak. That's all I like is batteries, backup power, things like that. I like to be able to do things when other people can't. Why do people buy generators? Well, the power goes out. You have a house. Now, I don't mean phone chargers like I have, and I have bigger ones than this, or like I just described, plug-in battery power stations, so you have like a certain amount of battery power, but in high capacity. I mean generators. You pour gas in, you get 12-hour load, and you keep things, you keep as much of the house as you can powered, including refrigeration. Your laundry machine, things you need. That's in times of emergency. And we're talking about California, the state that's always on fire, where like 60,000 acres can be burned in 5 minutes because somebody had a gender reveal party, or maybe threw a cigarette butt while on a hiking trail. Yeah, and somehow getting rid of that, not to mention that generator trucks. You ever see those big, massive trucks that you see in front of buildings every now and then when there's a problem that they actually can power? Some of them are so powerful they can like run the neighborhood, like a block. They're just that good. Somehow this, I would omit this from the bill. You want to get rid of the weed whacker, go ahead, but I would get rid of classifying. I would just remove generators of any kind from that law because they do serve a purpose. Hospitals can use them, police stations, fire departments, housing, they do come in handy. So I would disagree with that. And it says the new law is expected to affect nearly 50,000 small businesses, including the people who sell generators. California's budget includes a $30 million fund to help professional landscapers and gardeners quit using gas-powered equipment. Well, no, that's not going to do it. That's just not going to do it. But okay, you got the idea of what I'm saying here. Generators do come in handy, especially in places where solar-powered charging systems don't always come in handy. They do for certain things, but not always, because on a cloudy day, you do not have great sunlight, and they take a while to charge. That's like a constant process. That's not always the case. No one's working with a solar power unit on a rainy day. Anyway, since I was talking about vaccines, and that means COVID, it seems, wait a second, someone's whizzing by. It seems that COVID-19's latest side effect is restless anal syndrome. Yes, you heard it, restless anal syndrome. Not like restless leg syndrome, restless anal syndrome. What is this? What is this, you may be asking? It's a newly published medical report to doctors in Japan has revealed that a mysterious condition associated with the disease called restless anal syndrome. It's believed its name is likened to the more commonly used, like I said, restless leg syndrome, but it's just and describes exactly one 77-year-old patient's afflictions. Says the man had recently checked out of the Tokyo Medical University following a 21-day stay while ill with COVID-19, but despite having fully recovered from the virus, he returned to report uncomfortable new symptoms. Okay. He told physicians that he began suffering deep anal discomfort in the area between his anus and genitals. You know, there, prompting him with the essential urge to move his bowels, which gave him no relief. Well, now, says as the days passed, the patient observed the physical activity seemed to relieve his stressed anus. Oh, man. Well, that can happen when you're laying around doing nothing. You got to move around. It's good for the body. It's good for the body. I was laying in bed. That's why you're not going. You're just laying there like the lump. And you're storing lumps, clumps, whatever. So anyway, it says here, COVID-19. Says a colonoscopy showed the man had internal hemorrhoids, but that didn't explain the spasms. No, not moving did. But anyway, you know, so he was a little backed up. That's what gave him the spasms. But after a little relief that came along his way, he is doing well. Yeah, there's a lot of side effects, loss of taste and smell. I know that one. Brain fog. That's not the same as a brain cloud, as we heard in the movie Joe versus the Volcano, but a brain fog. And numbness. Well, when I read all the things I'm reading here, I go numb also. But anyway, so restless anal syndrome, RAS. That's what we're calling it, RAS. So, what can I say, right? What can we say? It's almost 5:30. Look at this. Wow. Wow. Time is going by. By the way, what's this? Another breakthrough in COVID, another realization, which will probably change next week. And this is that smoking marijuana could lead to breakthrough COVID cases. You got it? Smoking pot could lead to breakthrough COVID cases. And that is a study last Tuesday in World Psychology found that those with a substance use disorder SUD. Like everything has to be abbreviated. A SUD. To me, a SUD's a bubble when you're doing your laundry. Anyway, a dependence on marijuana, alcohol, cocaine, opioids, tobacco will they were more likely to contract the coronavirus after receiving both their vaccination shots. Those without what? Oh, I'm reading like bad. I'm reading like bad writing because they're using the abbreviation. It says those without an SUD, but they should have said what it really is. So a 3.6% rate of breakthrough infections compared to a 7% rate in those with a SUD. Okay. So pretty much they're just lumping things you can be addicted to into the pile. So never mind that marijuana has already been proven to help with pain, eye disorders, anxiety treatments, cancer, and a host of other things. Not that I smoke at all, but that's already been proven. It seems that you have a bigger risk of getting COVID as opposed to when you're out with a group of people in the bar and everyone's talking at each other, spitting on each other, breathing on each other, but you lit up a joint, that's it, zap. So anyway, this is what happens. This is what happens when you read the news. Don't read the news, and you won't have these problems. Well, it's true. This is, but that's just what it is. If I go by, I've said this before. If I find today some medical related spot in the news, I promise you in 6 months, someone's going to report some news story contradicting it. I still remember years ago when I read that, I'm pretty sure I got it from CNN, that McDonald's was healthier for you than Chinese food. That was the caption of the story. What they were probably trying to say is that McDonald's is healthier for you than the greasier of all the Chinese foods, where the oils and the greases are used. Anyway, a couple of years ago, reading a story that said Chinese food's healthier for you than McDonald's. So what am I doing? Where am I going? Where am I going with this? Do I want cow lips on a bun or chopped cat from the kitchen? Which one is really healthier for you, Chinese food or McDonald's? So I guess it's what you pick off the menu. But then again, McDonald's is going also, they have a plant-based food menu. So I guess they try to help, and they have salads. They do have some things that are really good. And if you're going to get a milkshake, which is fattening no matter where you go, they have a good one. They really do. McDonald's always has the fries. I can go through bags, and not just one order, bags and bags of McDonald's fries. That's just delicious. But it always strikes me odd how the news, when it comes to health, will always contradict itself sooner, very in short order. The leading cause of death in the world is life. That's just the way it is. If you want me to get really morbid about it, the second you're born, the second the doctor slaps your butt, you're on the clock. And don't worry if you eat Chinese food or McDonald's or smoke a joint or, I don't know, breathe in the barbecue when you're cooking. Do whatever you want to do, without going out of your way to hurt yourself, of course. But it's incredible as to what goes on in the news, which is why during COVID, when I was sitting here in quarantine, we were all staying home, even if I had to stay inside or not. I was watching a lot of news. I don't watch soap operas, and there weren't too many good movies on that way. So I was watching news, And I noticed one thing, especially on CNN. Everybody wanted information from Dr. Fauci, including cooking tips and laundry and what laundry detergent to use. Dr. Sanjay Gupta, he is probably the busiest guy in all the medical profession. I don't know when he has time to practice because he was always on CNN, about 12 shows a day. And when you watch all these cable news shows, They're not like regular network news where they have to cover one story and keep on moving. They just go with it. You know, you have like 8 hosts a day doing whatever, and they keep covering the same stories. And it always, like always, breaking news, even though they told you about it 3 hours ago. It's not so breaking. You know, the same jet didn't crash twice, put it that way. So that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Anyway, I still eat Chinese food, and I haven't had McDonald's in a while. Matter of fact, I can tell you the last time I had McDonald's. It was shortly before COVID, because Jade and I were still working in the old studio. We were downtown Manhattan on Rector Street, and the train let me off near a McDonald's. So every now and then I just grab some, eat it there, and come home. That means I haven't had it in over 2 years. Wow. Has it been 2 years? No, it's not. It's March will be 2 years, mid-March. Jade's doing something. Looks very important. It looks very important. She's focused. She's not smiling. There's no blinking. I'm watching her on her Zoom video. What are we doing, Jade? Can I play? Is there a video game you could plug me into? Can I play? Is it something? Anyway, so what else is okay? Now let's get a little serious here, because I have spoken about this before in a different context. So anyway, I was watching the heavyweight title fight a couple of nights ago on it was a pay-per-view. The card itself was but the main event, the heavyweight fight, well, not the greatest technical fight I've ever seen in my life. It was a good television fight. These guys, defending champion Tyson Fury, defended successfully his WBC heavyweight title against the former champion Deontay Wilder. Okay. Just to keep it in perspective of where I'm going with this, Tyson Fury is white, Deontay Wilder is black. That's the basic. That's who the two men are. It was a good fight, really was. These guys are tough, and they knocked each other down. There were 5 total knockdowns in the fight. Finally, Tyson Fury knocked out Deontay Wilder in the 11th round with a punch that sort of caught him on his temple. Okay, why am I talking about this? I'm reading one of the blog sites I go to for my boxing stories, things I like to talk about, is a place called boxingnews24.com, a blog site. This was from a writer named Ken Hissner. The headline of this story is, who will be the next black hope to be heavyweight champion? And it says, he did a story years ago when the Klitschko brothers held Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko held the heavyweight titles. They divided it between them. And he was wondering, will Sam Peter, who is black, be the next black hope? Okay. This all started, now why is this, in terms of a blog in itself about boxing, it's relatively, it's more of a historic piece. There's no real valuable boxing information about fighting and any other. Anyway, the Great White Hope starts at around 2008. That is when a fighter nicknamed the Galveston Giant, Jack Johnson. He had won the heavyweight title on December 26, 1908. And he beat then the Canadian heavyweight champion, Tommy Burns, for the heavyweight title. He was the champ. And Tommy Burns was a good fighter. He was short. For a heavyweight, he was 5'7". He was a good fighter. People see the beating he got from Jack Johnson, figure he couldn't fight, but he had a very good career. Anyway, at the time, Jack Johnson became the heavyweight champion. He was a talented, tough, strong fighter. Nobody was beating him. And I know this is very racist America at that time. It was very tough for a lot of black fighters to get title shots, much less meaningful fights. But people had their fights. Um, but white America couldn't handle the fact that no matter who they sent in front of Jack Johnson, he couldn't be beat at that time. He was the best in the game. And he had what was for really in sports, what is the greatest prize in sports, the heavyweight champion of the world. That has long been standing, maybe not so much in boxing today because of all the mess of business, but if you are the heavyweight champion of the world, you have the greatest title in sports. It's just not that being a Super Bowl champion is weak or a World Series champion is weak, but you are, as a boxer, you stand alone. You are the champion. Um, so now, what's white America? I keep saying that for a reason. What are they going to do? What's going to happen here? Well, they tried a lot of fighters. A middleweight came up named Stanley Ketchel, who, they started the Great White Hope tag with him mildly, but it was more agreed that Ketchel wouldn't take any cheap shots because he was so much smaller against Jack Johnson, but he did, and he knocked Johnson down. So when Jack Johnson got up, he threw one punch, knocked out Stanley Ketchel, knocked out all his teeth, so on and so on and so on. But anyway, when you got the real Great White Hope, they came up with the idea of bringing back the former champion, Jim Jeffries, James J. Jeffries, Jim Jeffries. He was a good champion in his time, a few champions back. And he had retired 6 years prior. And he became a farmer. He was living his life. He was enjoying himself. So this became the first real Great White Hope. He didn't want to take the fight. He was retired. He was, again, living his life on the farm. He gained anywhere between 80 and 100 pounds. And they talked this guy into going into training to take the title away from Jack Johnson. So he had his training camp, which was more of a weight clinic. He knew what to do, but he couldn't do it. And the beating that Johnson gave Jim Jeffries for 15 rounds, Johnson was laughing at both him for doing this, but more, he was laughing at America for trying this, the white America for doing it, that he was not going to be beat by someone just because you don't like the idea that he's black. And this is where this phrase came from. It's a horrible phrase. It really is. It really is. That because the best fighter in boxing is black, that you need to save white America from this evil threat that somebody wearing a piece of gold around their waist, a belt, is a threat to your life. And that is, a lot of what went into boxing. Anyway, and this is a long time because for a while, then you had, eventually Johnson lost. You had a few, you had some white champions, of course, until Joe Louis beat Jim, well, he beat Jack Sharkey for the title, but it's you get the idea. Excuse me, Joe Louis defeated Jim Braddock from the movie The Cinderella Man. James J. Braddock to become the world heavyweight champion. Anyway, fast forward. Here we got a guy who wants to know who's going to be the great black hope. I think this is a horrible expression. It is, I don't know what this is. I looked up this writer, Ken Hisner. He's not a young guy. He's an older guy. Maybe he thinks with older guy thoughts. But if you're looking for a hope, it sort of means you're looking for someone to save the day. Now, as of recent, why this is being written today is that recently Anthony Joshua lost his heavyweight titles. He had 3 of the 4 title belts to a guy named Alexander Usyk from Ukraine. So now the black champion was defeated by a white fighter. And just 2 nights ago, white fighter defeated the former black champion. So now there are seemingly no black heavyweight champions. That's the gist of this article. I think it's all, you know, everything in time. Your next champion will be whoever the next champion is. Right now, I hope all the fighters have a good career. They all come out, all leave the game with some money in their pocket and their brains intact. And I think this is a horrible scenario, this horrible thought. Now, if the next guy to win the heavyweight title turns out to be a man of color, well then okay, you have a black champion again, and he'll defend the title and hopefully make some money and leave the game with his brains intact, and so on and so on. But to me, writing this kind of a blog is nothing more than to incite. It's cheap. And I'm looking at this. He says the possible black hopes. He has a list of fighters who can fit the trunks, so to say, who can wear the gloves. I think this is a horrible article. And I think Ken Hisner, I don't know how this website, boxingnews24.com, allowed this article to be printed, to make it to their website. But that's what he did, and that's what he's writing, and they allowed it. And I always said, if you want to look up racism as a good study case, look up Jack Johnson and read his story. And it's just a different variation of what people learn today and what people study about, what people protest against. And because of Jack, they invented the Mann Act. That we know it as, some people know it as the Jack Johnson law, but it's the Mann Act, M-A-N-N, which makes it illegal to transport women over state lines for immoral purposes. At that time, Jack Johnson, the loves of his life were women who were white. Again, white America couldn't take it. Here he was, the heavyweight champion with a white wife. And of course, they had to figure out what to do with this guy. So they brought out some farmer who hasn't fought in 6 years. An old case of a fighter coming out, no warm-ups, just going to take on the champ. And that was what that story was about. I think it should be deleted. I shared it with my boxing groups to discuss it on Facebook. And, it always makes for interesting discussion. I just think it's wrong. That's just me. Sorry. Well, anyway, it is Columbus Day today. No longer a meaningful holiday to me because, well, I don't get a day off of school. That's it. I can't stay home from school. I got to do what I got to do. But I'm reading an article. This is interesting. This was published a couple of days ago on the 9th. And again, this came originally out of the Times of London. It says, Italians knew about America long before the Columbus voyage. That's according to research, which says the people of Genoa knew of the Americans more than 150 years before their most famous son arrived in the New World. And that is according to research at the University of Milan. The Genoese friar recorded an account from, a Genoese friar recorded an account from the sailors of an awe-inspiring continent beyond Greenland, inhabited by huge giants in the year 1340, long before Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. All right. He says, in this land, there are buildings with such huge slabs of stone that nobody could build with them except huge giants. Well, it's the year 1340. Not everybody understood how things were done, which means they landed on the East Coast because there wasn't all that much going on in the West at that time. There were also green trees, animals, great quantity of birds. The friar's name is Galvanius Flama, wrote in a singular tome called the Chronica Universalis. Anyway, that's the story with Columbus. People knew about it 150 years before. But then again, I've been saying for years, I learned in school that it was Vikings who discovered America. So yeah, I believe that. I believe anything. What was it? People thought it was Leif Erikson for a million years. Um, so yeah, in a way, we have a parade and we still celebrate a holiday for a guy that we're not really sure did it. But okay, at least when I was a kid, I got a day off of school. Now what do I got? I don't have a day off of school. Jay, do you want a day off of school? Never hurts. It never hurts. You get a day off, you go play. It's not bad. Get to sleep late and all. Um, so what else is going on? What else is going on? Well, let's see. Well, I don't know how I found this. This was put out a couple of days ago. It says the last Gilligan's Island castaway is actress Tina Louise, which it is, and she reveals her sexiest co-star. Tina Louise, by the way, was born in 1934. She won't tell you her age, but she was born in 1934. No, it wasn't Gilligan, wasn't Skipper, wasn't Professor. She always found her favorite male co-star, the sexiest co-star, was Jim Backus, who played Mr. Howell. He was Thurston Howell III. Only on this show could you take a 3-hour touring ride on a boat with luggage, with bags of money, with clothing, with scientific equipment, with Ginger had gowns. It was just insane. But it was a fun show. It was dopey. It was fun. And everybody who landed there by accident and had a way off, nobody rescued them. I don't know why, but nobody rescued the castaways until like they had a reunion show like 20 years later, and finally they got off, but all went back to open a resort. Anyway, that was it. So yeah, Tina Louise played Ginger. And that's, if you ever see anybody with red hair being referred to as Ginger, her. Yeah, I thought that was funny. Okay, she liked Mr. Howell. Said he had a great sense of humor. He was cute. He was funny. He had great conversation. He knew what he was doing. But okay, she called him adorable. So there you go. Tina Louise says Jim Backus or Ginger like Mr. Howell the best. There you go. And that is my final story. What is going on with me these days? Because I have to get all the other stuff in the world out first, believe it or not. Wait, little sip of the bean nectar. Running out of time for iced coffee. I don't drink it in 30-degree weather. Okay. So, when we were all stuck in the house for a long time, everybody was panic buying for, you remember all the toilet paper and the paper towels and all that crap. And you couldn't find Lysol, you couldn't find alcohol, you couldn't do a lot of things. Now, I was stuck in the house for a couple of weeks, because I had COVID then. I wasn't sick, but, smell and taste. And then, well, even after I got by it, people were still home. We were all home. Even if you walked out of the house, yeah, you could walk around the block on a sunny day, but there weren't that many places to go. So I sat home a lot. To me, my personal game to keep me sane was stalking Amazon and seeing what kind of paper towels I can get and toilet paper, because nothing was available. So that was it. I had my Pink Panther music going on, da-da, 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 da-da. And there I was on Amazon buying all kinds of stuff. Well, I still have toilet paper. Won't be needing that for a while. It's almost 2 years later. I won't be needing that for a while. Paper towels. Well, I'm going to have to start buying some of that in a while, soon, because for some reason, anytime I eat, I go through, especially when I'm home, well, whenever I eat, I go through this violent sneezing fit. It really is annoying, I got to tell you. I mean, I don't really just sneeze. I mean, I could blow out candles from across the room. So, yeah, so I, my nose, whatever. So plus, you wipe around. I like paper towels. It's really cleaner than using a sponge or a rag. Anyway, so I will have to make a dent. Now, if you look behind me, you see those little white, clear-looking jars on that work table. That is this rubbing alcohol, 70% volume rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. Again, things you could not get on Amazon, and I found some really, really good prices at the time. Excellent prices. And I got so much of this. There's not enough sterilization I could do in myself to have a go through all this. Matter of fact, it's probably, well, this one here has some time on it. But yeah, I may have to auction some of this off or just simply give it away. You certainly can't drink it. That's because this is not the type of alcohol you drink. You can go blind drinking this. And of course, give yourself a little stomachache. But yeah, I still got a lot of alcohol. I still have a lot of toilet paper, and I'm going to need paper towels. I'll wait a week before I start ordering that and getting some of that because, you never know. But still, I have that. I got myself the shoes I'm wearing, my Timberland Pro hiking work sneaker shoe, whatever. I just got rid of my last pair. I bought the pair before that about 8 months prior because I was home and I got a good price. So now I finally got around to those. This is what happens when you're sitting around during lockdown. You do stupid buying stuff. However, it wasn't produce. It couldn't go bad like that. So, shoes always have a good shelf life. And that is the things I was doing. What else did I get? Well, bought myself a new paper shredder because I have to start dealing with some old papers. And I got myself my new denim jacket finally, which fits nice and warm with a blanket lining. I think I may have told you last week I got myself one in blanket lining, one in Sherpa. But to me, Sherpa was like wearing a piece of carpeting. I looked nice and warm, looked good, but I just didn't like it. So I went with the blanket lining. It's a little bit warm to wear on a 65-degree day, but I'll manage. And everything else is going pretty well. Jade's band, the Train Walkers, you will see at Arlene's Grocery, 95 Stanton Street, every first Sunday of the month at 7 o'clock. Maybe they'll start busking outside a little bit earlier next time. You never know. You never know. That way you can get a couple of little like teaser songs, then buy an easy ticket and go in and sit and watch a few hours of music for next to nothing. That's always cool. And then everything else is going pretty good. One good thing I'm not doing is listening to the news because I can't listen to Joe Biden give a speech. I have nothing personally against Joe Biden. It's just that he makes every speech he gives sound like a eulogy. Some people, whether you like them or not as politicians, just know how to give a speech. Not Joe. He likes to whisper. I don't know why he's whispering, but he likes to whisper. We're doing great. You'll be okay. We're doing great. It sounds like someone died. Anyway, so I stay away from the news lately. It's all the same stories anyway. Makes no difference. And we're coming up in 5 minutes too. Please, if you have a chance, go to our YouTube station, youtube.com/Skies Crescent Radio. Hit the subscribe button. Go hit the subscribe button, please. Doesn't cost you anything. Takes you 1 second. Hopefully you find the show you like to watch, but it's nice if you subscribe. We get to 100 subscribers, we get our own URL, our own personal web address. So we're going to see what happens. Hey, that's something. I remember when I first moved out of my house and I had my own personal mailbox, I couldn't wait to get junk mail because it would really be addressed to me. And now, took me a while. Took me a while to realize that nobody knew I was there yet, but I had my own mailbox. So maybe we'll get our own address. And we're hoping you help us out. So that's what we're hoping for. And go hit a like button on the Skies Crescent Radio and Upfront Frank Facebook pages and help us out. Come see what we do. This is what I do, but I can do almost anything. I'll talk about any subject you have. Believe it or not. I may not be, I'll catch on quick. Whatever it is, I promise you, I will catch on quick. So let's hear the topic and let's see what happens. And by the way, before I go, William Shatner's space voyage has been delayed a little bit. I didn't read why. I just heard it's being delayed. So Captain Kirk is not going to warp factor 1 just fast, so fast. But maybe they'll still, when he gets into the rocket, when he gets into the ship, maybe they'll give him the honorary, full ahead, or whatever Captain Kirk would want to say at this time. And with that, everything is good. I hope everybody has a great week, a safe week. Remember, tomorrow's a school day. I know today wasn't, but tomorrow's a school day. Go to bed early, get up early, and everything else is going good. So I will see everyone next time. Watch the baseball playoffs. They're good games. That's all I got to say. Everyone, have a good night. I'll see you next Tuesday.